Classroom of the Elite Year 2 Volume 6. This time before beginning to speak about how this volume is, I just have to talk a bit about the very end of this light novel, the afterwards, where the author talked about the release of Season 2 of the anime. He seemed really pumped up about it, and I have to say, what a well-deserved W. Kudos to him. That man has entertained us constantly with his thrilling writing and I am really happy for him. Season 2 was announced for 2022 and also an unexpected Season 3 also got announced for 2023. The author did say that he has been discussing about the sequel for the 2017 anime for 2 years, and he writes, "Woo and yay," in his hopes for the anime. Now on towards bashing the most hated character in the series, Kushida. Now from the previous volume, everyone was pretty intrigued to know exactly what kind of changes would happen regarding her character. Now that it's been exposed that she is a two-faced bitch, how would the class react? How would they treat her? Would they enforce some sort of revenge on her? And the answer to that is, no, they didn't do shit, because they are just a bunch of dumb side character whose opinion don't matter. Here I am gonna simplify what happened with Kushida real quick. Kushida didn't come to school for a week. Horikita ran after her to get her back. The classmates did nothing because Horikita said, apparently she would take the responsibility for her actions. Then a week later, the power of never giving up finally worked. Horikita and Ibuki, the oh-so-fierce rivals, came together and convinced Kushida, a person whose self-worth comes from other people's opinions, that, hey, people's opinion don't matter. And then they have a bonding moment, that might be wholesome to people who have forgotten all about the shit that these chicks did in the past freaking volumes. And then Kushida comes back to the class on the Monday of the next week, and says to the class, hey, I don't care about you and even though I spoke shit about you, don't you dare speak shit about me. And after threatening them, she gave a hollow apology to 3 people. And the class just took it and did nothing. See whether Horikita's decision to expel Sakura and protect Kushida was right or wrong can be debated about later, but at least there should have been some students with strong opinion about Kushida in the class. Like what? They got told to shut up by Kushida and Horikita in the class and then their anger was just gone. Even if they are not angry, there should at least be some curiosity. Like why is this girl such a bitch? And why is our black-haired lady leader doing simping for her? Not to mention Horikita also told them not to spread the rumors about Kushida to the other class. I personally think that is overestimating students quite a bit. Like can you imagine telling a bunch of high schoolers to not to gossip about the biggest gossip-worthy event that has just happened? And the surprising thing is that they just did that. The class just took it in stride and just kept quiet about the whole matter. I think with how teenage girls are, there should have been at least a catfight, not like the silly version of who can make the other smile first like Horikita and Kushida, but a proper that girl is gonna rip out her skull fight. Although that might be too much to ask, but at least give her the hate she deserves. Come on, everyone who has been to high school knows the shit girls says behind each other's back. I think there should have been at least one scene with just 2 random girls in class chatting pure shit about Kushida and Horikita. Perhaps in the next volume that wish could come true. Although, cycling back a bit, I can sort of understand why that kind of reaction might be coming from the Class B students. See, I know that, the thing is, there should be, at least a couple of students in the class who are bricking themselves because they have told Kushida some of their nasty secrets and are now scared that she might expose them. Plus since the big dogs, that is Harada and K aren't saying much, they aren't saying much either. And since some people's trust in their confidant has been broken, they might just feel betrayed and stay away from the problem. But at least I expected Horikita to feel pressured more than by just her feelings of guilt. She put on more pressure on herself while everyone sort of just gave her some space. At least that's how I felt. But before getting more deeply into that, let's talk about the other aspects of this volume. Personally, I have been really looking forward to the development of a particular character for the past 2 volumes, but unfortunately enough she hasn't been in the center of attention much, and that character is Ichino's. Like I really wanna know what's going on with her. Cause in the Point 5 novel Ichino's got her heart broken when Nagumo told her that Ayonkoji was already in relationship. So for the past 2 volumes I have been just waiting for some development from her side. But till now I have seen nothing regarding how she feels now. Cause all we got to know from this volume is that Nagumo is sticking awfully close to Ichino's, a truly unfortunate development. See, here is how it went in this volume. Ayonkoji gets called to the student council room by President Nagumo, who says that he wants to compete with Ayonkoji on the sports festival events. That he absolutely has to participate in some of the same competitions as Ayonkoji. Acting a bit too desperate for my man there. And then, when Ayonkoji sort of agreed to compete with him, which by the way did not happen, cause Ayonkoji just took a day off from the sports competition. Obviously the big Nagumo versus Ayonkoji fight, it seems like would be just teased for another 4 volumes. But anyways, after that Nagumo decides to play mind games. Cause shortly afterwards, Ichinos comes in with her lunch in hand and it is revealed Nagumo is keeping up with his favorite part-time hobby of preying on women in their depressed weak mental state. Apparently they have been having lunch in the student council room for some time. Nagumo also rubbed that in Ayonkoji's face while inviting him for dinner, with some obvious malicious intention to make Ayonkoji feel uneasy. Obviously Ayonkoji doesn't have a heart, so he doesn't care and just leaves. But I really would have appreciated knowing some more about Ikinos' condition, perhaps just a short monologue to know that she isn't falling for Nagumo's bullshit. That girl has suffered enough. Now let's discuss one character that you have been seeing in the screen for the past few minutes. See, the first time I saw the cover I was like, wow, they are introducing a fun new character that looks like that track and field girl from the doujin I read. But apparently this is the character we have all known about but never cared about. The short-haired girl on the cover is none other than Onodera, who is the best swimmer among the girls. And that's all I knew about her before this volume. Yes, I have read her name mentioned here and there, but I didn't know she was going to be some newly important character. And definitely didn't predict she was going to look like this. So let me cut to the chase and answer the question you all must have thought when you saw the cover. Yes, Onodera likes Sudo. See, Onodera's involvement started when she approaches Sudo to team up for the sports special exam. And now, see, I would have explained the special exam ages ago, but the contents of this special exam plays little importance in this volume. All you need to keep in mind is that it is similar to the sports exam before. People play, wins, gains points. First class wins class points, all that shababs. An exciting addition was that the first place among the individuals in a year had the option to change class. But nothing noteworthy really happened with that first prize. Anyways, back to Onodera. She forms up a team with Sudo, they win a lot in the sports competition, they also have tough tennis match with Housen. They have dirty talks and all that, Housen also manages to hit Onodera with the ball. And things get heated, until Onodera tells Sudo to calm down and with the power faux friendship they win. In her short story, Onodera mentioned her butterfly feelings when Sudo hugged her after winning the competition, but also her jealously when Sudo went looking straight for Horikita. Now here is the love triangle, and you know I am gonna give out my expertise and garner a guess regarding how this is gonna end. Onodera confesses to Sudo and then gets rejected cause Sudo likes Horikita. Then Sudo says to Horikita, I love you, Suzune. And then gets rejected cause Horikita likes Kushida. And then Horikita and Kushida lives happily afterwards. Then there is another side character that no one has ever really cared about. Shinohara is hurt. I am gonna be honest, I quite like that she reacted the way she did. Her questioning Horikita and Kushida, albeit only once, did make me feel things for this character for the first time. The thing was she found out that some of the girls in the class including Kei, made fun of her and Ike. Which was ultimately settled down by a civil discussion hosted by Harada where Shinohara got her mom's Ike, and they sort of made up. And now onto our main boy Ayonkoji, who I think, is no longer our boy. He has climbed the stairs of adulthood and become the T-Rex man. Let me explain to you the order of the events. So if you remember in the previous volume it was exposed that Mi-chan likes Harada. After that Mi-chan was understandably embarrassed and didn't come to school, and everyone was very worried for her. I just have to say, speaking from personal experience, if it was a boy that got his crush exposed, not only would the class not feel sympathetic but they would rub it in. The bastards you call friends would shout out the name of your crush right in front of you, just randomly in the class. Anyways, enough about the dual nature of the society. Mi-chan was depressed, and not coming to school. So Harada went with his problems to Ayonkoji who offered to talk to Mi-chan and messaged her to have a talk. Another interesting addition to that story is that an unknown person had been leaving food outside of Mi-chan's apartment from the time she had stopped coming to school. We don't know who that person is, but it is not Ayonkoji. Now on to the interesting part. Mi-chan received Ayonkoji's message and then on evening decided to call up Ayonkoji. And when Ayonkoji picked up Mi-chan heard the sound of shower shutting down in the background. That means Ayonkoji was in the shower when she called. But then, when Mi-chan reached Ayonkoji's room, lo and behold who she found. Kei exiting his room with her hair undone. Now there begs the question, if Ayonkoji was taking a shower what was Kei doing in the room? And then after Mi-chan's problem got resolved, obviously Master Kiyotaka also has a bit of talk no jutsu shit that resolved Mi-chan's problem quickly, Ikika entered his room after that. And when she forced herself in and started looking around, she found out a long strand of hair under the pillow on the bed. Now ladies and gentlemen, I think it's safe to say, Ayonkoji has read the whole book and also used the gift Ikika had given him before. By the way, Ikika's reason for coming into the room was to just check for any wires in his room, so as to make sure that the T-Rex man isn't being tapped. Also I think at this stage it is implied that there are multiple other White Room students besides Ikika and Yagami. And also that Ikika wants to side with Ayonkoji, cause she is a simp, but she also has her own troubles. And also talking about Kei, I am also a bit worried about her. Cause apparently, Sato is gonna turn into a backstabbing bitch. See here is what transpired between Sato and some first year, probably White Room, student. After Sato ran away after feeling jealous from seeing Kei and Ayonkoji together, the first year student approaches her and says, hey, how about you expel Kurosawa Kei, then you can have Ayonkoji all to yourself. And Sato in response seemed a bit tempted. Which is crazy, cause honestly she isn't even fourth on the list of waifus Ayonkoji can get together with after Kei. All to herself is a big fat dream. Anyways, there are much more developments with Ayonkoji, and also a very interesting and goddamn fulfilling monologue in the climax, but before that let's take a look at the special exams. So let's discuss each class's strategy in this sports exam. Aikinos's class C once again went with no plan. Horikita actually teamed up with Ryuan for this exam and with much negotiations and such, with Ayanokoji also promising to keep Sakyongi away. The negotiations after some trash talk, flowed out nicely. They both agreed to target class A cause they are way too ahead of the rest of the classes. Sakyongi also had a plan to lead her class personally to victory but that didn't happen, but before talking more about that let's talk about Horikita. I think she is just having her character build up in the recent volumes. In the beginning she was flustered but then when Kushida came back to the class she was alright. She seems to think this is an absolute W. To her, now that Kushida is going to contribute in the class there are no problem and they are on the right track to class A. In fact, Horikita even mentioned to Ayonkoji that she didn't regret her decision and believes she made the right choice, which as results have shown, is the truth. Cause ultimately they did win the sports competition. Class B placed first, Ryuan's Class B second and then Class A was last, just as planned. In fact the only trouble is the class's Hasabi, who after coming back to the class after taking a week of absence has sworn that she will make Horikita and Ayonkoji regret the decision she made in expelling Sakura. And to that I say, go girl, but focus more on Horikita rather than Ayonkoji. Or you might end up in trouble. Anyways, back onto Horikita's decision, what I don't understand is why she didn't ask Kushida, the reason she did what she did in the special exam. Cause Kushida was following Yagami's instructions. And Horikita doesn't know anything about that, and the thing is, would she still follow Yagami's instructions? Cause if that happens another betrayal is incoming. That is the only thing I have to say, but for now it seems Horikita's decision is said to be correct. Honestly it feels immature-ish to say this, but just the smug after victory Horikita is annoying to think about. And that is the reason why I am so happy that Ayonkoji is going to leave the class. Yes that's right, ladies and gentlemen, Ayonkoji has officially stated that he is, someday, gonna leave the class and then completely annihilate Horikita's class. Not because he has anything against the class or his soon-to-be ex-class but because he just wants to see Horikita's growth. And that also means that the crazy fan theories about the final last fight being in between Horikita and Ayonkoji is looking out to be correct. Although, I must say, as much as I want to see that, I don't want that to be the final climax. The final fight should be something like, him versus his dad or something, cause at the end of the day, no matter how much Horikita grows, it's just not gonna give the final boss feeling to see them battle it out. But apart from that, I really look forward to it. And Ayonkoji wanting to change class also explains his ideas to just keep pushing Horikita forward as a leader, cause he doesn't want the other students of the class, like Hirata, to keep relying on him. He wants Hirata and the other to treat Horikita as a leader so he can make a clean break and then have a fair match with the class. And also now that Ayonkoji's plan to change class has become apparent, I also really want him to go to Aikinos's class. And I think transferring to that class makes the most sense. Cause the other class already have an established leader. But Aikinos's class is just free-falling, and I remember reading that Ryuan said that no one is Aikinos's class was leader material, and even Ichino's was better suited as someone second in command. I sincerely hope that happens, so that Ichino's can finally catch AW. That poor girl has suffered enough. No matter how many times I repeat that, it's never gonna be enough. And ladies and gentlemen, before the end we have lewd scenes with the loli. Now many people went nuts over this scene, Cause it was really vague what really took place, but let me explain before you blow your nut. See, in the events of the sports festival, Sakyongi was gonna lead Class A. But then Inakoji hatched his plans. He took a leave on the day of the special exam, which was advised by the chairman since Ayonkoji's dad could have his son kidnappers off of the premise of the school given the opportunity. So Ayonkoji took the safe way out, but also let Sakyongi know about his leave, and as expected Sakyongi came to talk to him, cause she was just too curious to talk to Ayonkoji. She doesn't care for the class as long as she can talk with Ayonkoji, so she left them to hang dry. Now when they got talking, Sakyongi sat on his bed when Ayonkoji told her that he couldn't risk people knowing about her visiting him like this. So he needed some leverage over her, so he pushed her down on the bed and mounted her. And before you people lose your mind, no, nothing actually happened. Sakyongi lost conscious in about 10 seconds after that, so ease your horses. Statistically speaking, Ayonkoji mounted Ryuan longer than he mounted Sakyongi. Anyways, the aim behind that was to take some pictures so that he could blackmail her into not telling anyone about this. That's not as bad, but a very shady, still, I must admit. Especially considering the fact that, Ayonkoji, called that his, special lesson. My boy, Ayonkoji, I will have you know that, is a red flag. The only people saying that, in that position to a girl looking like Sakyongi or creepy uncle that should be on their way to jail. In Sakyongi's POV, she seems flustered and that. But before the shippers feel happy about this development, I will have you know that they are still tool zoning each other. Cause Sakyongi is interested in using and being used. Onto a bit of a thrilling development, a mysterious person who we have seen of before also makes an appearance while these two are tool zoning each other in their room. A voice that called up Ayonkoji in a volumes that was ages ago, makes its reappearance. See, all we know about that voice is that it is male and sounds like someone Ayonkoji's age. And he is also neutral. Cause he approaches Ayonkoji through closed doors and warns him regarding some dangers. Also Sakyongi also recognizes his voice, but she says she has heard it before coming to the school. And as you know, the White Room student cannot go outside the White Room, so it is unlikely that one met Sakyongi in the outside world. So it could be anyone. Most likely a new character, or maybe the Yama god is back. Any guesses are valid. And so lastly, let's talk about the Ayonkoji group, who has ceased to exist. See, Hasabi and Akito, I think, are the only two friends left. And keeping in mind that Hasabi wants to exact revenge, and that Akito actually loves her and is going to aid her. Their future also seems a bit grim. Not gonna lie, I feel with Akito. He is just chill, doesn't bother much with anything. But at the end, he is just going to get dragged into a drama mess that cause of a girl. And he realizes that, and is still gonna willingly fall into the mess, cause everybody did stupid shit for a girl. He is a good man, hopefully gets AW.